I can already tell. So how many of you know that they have a teen ambassador program? No? Awesome. So the Broward Center Teen Ambassador Program is the only one of its kind here in the nation. And basically what the goal of it is it's like a pre-professional program for young artists or for practitioners or for people who like to do that research. Managers, stage managers, set, lighting. It's this wonderful program that allows teens to create a new and stronger demographic. What we're doing here is, it's like an exchange program. So the Broward Center for the Performing Arts has recruited 24 high school students that what they do is we do what we do best. We do social media. So in exchange for our social media promotions and in exchange for maybe about 5 reviews each year, we have access as press to all of the performances at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts free. So we attend shows opening night. We see the touring Broadway shows. We see the touring Miami City Ballet, Florida Grand Opera. Jazz. We see jazz. We see Gold Coast Jazz. We see any of the smaller shows that come in touring. We saw, I think, like a Russian ballet that came in. That was so incredible. And in exchange for this, all that they ask us to do is tell our friends about it on social media. Tell other people about it. So we go and we tweet about it, we Instagram about it, we Facebook about it, and we create a conversation that maybe our friends might not have known about otherwise. And so while we're doing that, we are increasing the engagement and the revenues of the Broward Center. In the past 5 years, the Broward Center has seen such a spike in youth buying tickets, buying student group tickets. And in other youth, not only that, but they're more interested in the arts. They're more willing when they're older to go to the theater and to take their kids to the theater and to create a new generation of theater attenders, of theater members. And what we're doing, and they're doing that by utilizing teens, doing what we do best. We do social media best. Well, most teens do social media best. Personally, I was a bit of a social media hermit until about 2 years ago. I just made a Facebook 5 months ago, my own personal one. I made a Twitter 2 years ago when the Broward Center started because I knew that I would need it. They require it. They require you to go out and let your friends know. And I just created an Instagram account 2 days ago. I'm still not used to it, yes.
Why were you a social media hermit at 16?
Well, I'm 16 now. I started when I was 14, but I think that I was very wary of social media. I had seen a lot of my friends use it for drama. So they, for example, they'd be in class and they'd be on Facebook on their phone and they'd be talking to about 3 other people about why did Jeremy do this? And Jeremy did this in math class to me an hour ago, and this is horrible. And so I was a little bit scared of social media. And then I realized that social media for social good has so much potential and so much beauty in it that how could I not be a part of something as big and as global as this? Also, just to remind you guys, if you want, you can tweet me. I encourage you to pick up your phone. My personal Twitter is @theshowblogger, THESHOW blogger, BLOGGER. And my Instagram, although very new, is soval_. So these are some of the opportunities that the Broward Center has besides just seeing free shows. We are able to, and you're going to see a lot of screenshots like this from Twitter because Twitter is what I do best. Twitter is my jam. So this is a group of students from the Miami-Jackson Senior High School that attended a performance at the Miami City Ballet. As teen ambassadors, we're so encouraged to let other kids know that there are special opportunities for student groups and for classes. So they'll do special student pricing, even for group sales that aren't students. Special student pricing, group pricing. And I'd like to formally announce that now the program is currently available to all high school students in the Miami, Palm Beach, and Broward County area. Before it was only open up to students in the Broward area. So we're really, really excited to have fresh faces, to have new innovative ideas coming in to the theater and to the program. We have access to backstage and informational tours. This was for the Adams family that came touring in South Florida, I think it was about 2 years ago. And we got a backstage tour of the Adams family. So we got to see all of the workings of how it looks like when it's not all glitz and glamored up on the stage. We see the actors in their natural habitat. We are able to go see for photographer. We went to go see the Morning Becomes Electra, the dress rehearsal. We were able to go see set design. We're able to ask questions and see how these things are created and get more of an insight on different theater careers that we would be interested in. So it's not just, the center doesn't just think of teens that are interested in theater as singers and dancers and actors. They think of them as the people who are running the lights, the people who are running the sounds, because it all comes together to make a family. And we have a knowledge of promotions and deals. So how many of you know that for the Broadway touring shows, if you show up 2.5 hours beforehand, you could enter a lottery and win front row tickets, $25. Yeah, you guys know that? How many of you, now that you know that didn't know it before, are more likely to go to the Broward Center 2.5 hours before and go see if they can get $25 front row tickets? That's our job. And we have access to artist and musical press junkets. This was for the American Idiot tour, Idiot on Tour. We were able, teen advisors who were able to do this during the day, we went to a press luncheon where we were able to have a very intimate conversation and performances from the cast members of American Idiot. We were able to ask them questions, take pictures with them. We got a handy-dandy little pamphlet to talk about our friends with. And we also get support from Broward Center on all of our social media sites. So if I post something on Twitter about how proud I am that, or how happy I am that I got to see this show, they'll retweet it, they'll favorite it, and I promise you, or at least I can sort of promise you, that they will, if you tweet them right now, #new BCPA, with a photo or with a comment that, oh, we're seeing Valeria speaking at Social Media Day in Miami. Wow! They will favorite it or they'll retweet it. They're very, very nice about that. So who is the show blogger? Most teens that I know have on their Twitter their name. For example, their actual full name. Mine isn't. I created the show blogger when I was 14 years old, and it was just me creating a Tumblr blog with a love for passion, a love for theater, and a passion for education and for educating people about the arts. And so I took it a step further, and I went and I started posting all of my reviews on a blog. But then I went and I asked them, hey, listen, can I do an interview with one of the artists of any show? And they're like, well, yeah, sure. And so they went and they hooked me up with, I think my first interview was with an opera singer with Florida Grand Opera. So it was very cool for me and very exciting. And the more that you do them, the more that they give you. So I've done interviews, a few of my more recent interviews have been with Fernando Contreras, who was in Ghost, the musical, and with Ramon Thomas, who was in Memphis, the musical, both of which came touring here in Broward Center. Very nice about setting things up. The Broward Center has a partnership between their students and the actual theater, where we give and they give back. So on to our next topic, keeping it short and sweet and techy with our legislators. Do any of you guys know who your representative in Congress is? Raise your hand if you do. You do? Okay, great. So, as I work with Girl Up, I am a teen advisor for their program, the United Nations program. Girl Up is a campaign of the United Nations Foundation, and our goal is to connect girls here in America with girls in less developed countries. In order to give them an education, we try and provide safe spaces, doctors, age-appropriate health information, and we, as of lately, are trying to get them counted. So what does being counted mean? Being counted means that you have a birth certificate, that you have your birth documentation, and this is all something that we all here in the audience have. I don't need to ask for a raise of hands for this. We can all drive, we all have rights, we can go and we can vote. Girls in less developed countries, however, there are certain girls that can't do that. They don't have their registration, they're invisible members of society. And so Girl Up recently had a conference, and this is a photo from the conference, our group photo, with over 170 members that came, participants, from over 9 countries. And so we came together for a 3-day conference, and on the final day, we marched on Capitol Hill to tell our representatives that we cared about counting girls. Girl Up is currently sponsoring a specific bill called the Girls Count Act of 2013, Bill HR 3398. And what HR 3398 will do is it will encourage UN agencies to keep counting girls on their agenda for the next year. We know that, how many of you people, know about the MDGs, Millennium Development Goals? There are a set of goals that the UN created, it was about 15 years ago, of the world that they wanted to see in 2015. And so counting girls, we want counting girls. They're about to reset that. They're about to redo their agenda. And we want counting girls to be a priority, or they did. This is the Girl Up Advocacy app. If any of you guys have an Android or an Apple phone, you have the iTunes store. You can find the Girl Up Advocacy app in your phone. Basically what it did is all of us downloaded this, all of us. We went 170 participants, and we took it to Capitol Hill. Right over here on schedules was our schedules for which representative's office we would meet with and when. We met with about, at least my group, the Florida group, we met with about 5, 6 representatives that day. And it showed our schedule for when we would talk to them for how long. It was very, very cool, and it was very easy to access. We had talking points for anybody that was newish to the campaign, so that we could keep a track on what we should say, on the right words to say. We had about your representatives, which I don't know if any of you guys know this, but this is so great. When you're about to go into a representative's office and you need to know whether or not they're a Democrat or Republican, what issues they feel strongly about, what issues they don't feel as strongly about. And so it was great to be able to contact and learn about our reps. Thank you, Rep. Thank you, Representative. So we were able to send thank yous to our representative for taking the time out of their infinitely busy schedule in Washington, D.C. to meet with a group of wide-eyed, persistent girls. We were able to share the app and share what was going on in D.C. at that moment. And we were able to tell Girl Up our feedback, what we think could change, what we think could improve, what we think was so great that I want to see it next year when I attend. And then tweet Congress. My personal favorite because I love Twitter. We were able to tweet at Congress and let them know we are here, we demand to have our voices heard, and also we would love if you would favorite or retweet us, please. Thank you very much. We also have resources that we can use. So for example, if I would like to show the representative that I'm meeting a video about a girl who is in Liberia, and when Girl Up went there and they had 2 to 3 minutes of a girl and how she felt getting an education, how she felt knowing that she was empowered, we were able to do that. And then finally we had Take Action, which is taking the action after we leave the summit. We don't want anything to just stay in those 3 days. We want you to expand and grow and teach your community and even modify it in your community how you see fit to be able to teach and learn and expand in your community and teach them what you learned and what you think the community can do. So zip codes and social media. This used to be a nice little state of Florida gel thing. I see it. You can see it if you sort of squint your eye a little bit. So zip codes on social media. If any of you don't know who your representative is, you can go to house.gov and you can really quick just put in your zip code and it'll tell you who it is. So these are all of the representatives that my club has been able, the South Florida Girl Up has been able to make contact with. My club has been one of the most active, actually, in terms of reaching out to Congress, to legislators, and being able to let them know that this is an issue that we care about. And after the meeting, we're able to keep up with them on social media. I don't know how many of you know this, but Representative Representative Wilson, Frederica Wilson, she is doing every day from 9 to 12 a tweet talk about the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls campaign. Every day, 9 to 12, she's talking about why it is so important to keep the firestorm alive, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Well, isn't somebody really doing this for them? They're not really doing their own thing.
No, they really,
for the most part, doing it.
I mean, I'm sure that there are tweets that have a moderator or administrator that does their social media for them. But during our meeting with Representative Frankel, we were able to learn that she and Representative Wilson and another representative from Florida actually traveled to Nigeria to meet with the two girls who were skates, and they met with some other girls, and so they really do feel for this campaign. And so I think that the perfect way to keep that alive, to keep the talk about it going alive, because it happened about a month ago, almost two. It's a perfect way to keep the talk alive.
Oh no, I don't dispute that at all. I'm just saying, if their aides are running, they do that, because there's no way these reps are going to be spending their time on Twitter.
I saw a couple of
the time
representatives.
you're not doing that. Maybe they're doing a couple tweets here and there, but I don't believe they're
Not all, of course, because they have other issues to take care of. But it's good to know that they care enough to keep it.
Of course, yeah. And I don't mean to diminish that. It wasn't meant to be a criticism.
Oh no, I completely understand. I welcome all commentary. So just keep it going. So hashtags aren't just hashtags anymore. Do you guys know what hashtag activism is? Yes, you know. So basically, hashtag activism is using a hashtag with a greater purpose behind it. We've seen this in examples in the past year maybe. Hashtag yes all women, for example, which brought to light some of the issues that women face on a day-to-day basis, some of the things that they go through in order to protect themselves, or the things that they feel they need to do to protect themselves. And also some commentary from other people, that was very interesting, and it opens up a discussion for it. So this is, for example, an example of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls feed that I just got really quick, just as a quick search of it. Hashtag activism, it levels the playing field. So for example, we are able to go, and I'm able to tweet to Representative Wilson and tweet her, I care about this issue, this is what I think is happening, these are some stats that I found out, I would like you to care about this. I can tweet them hashtag girls count and tell them there are 51 million children in the world right now that are uneducated. There are girls in less developed countries who don't have access to the rights that we do. This is why I care about this. I think you should care about this too. It also raises awareness with millions globally. Social media, it has so many people on it that it's like a global village. You can keep in contact with people from Australia, from Italy, from California, and you don't actually have to go and meet with them, but you can form relationships. And you can raise awareness with them on issues that you care about. You can also force larger institutions to take action. I know that the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls campaign was one of the reasons that I think the U.S. We put a lot of pressure on our elected officials to take action, to visit these girls, to care. And so hashtag activism is one of the ways that we're doing this on a day-to-day basis, just hashtagging Bring Back Our Girls, hashtag yes all women, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that one day we all hope to, I think one day we all hope to see the hashtag trending on Twitter, Our Girls Are Back. And so now on to A World at School. A World at School is an organization, is a foundation actually, that is similar to Girl Up in the way that they tackle education, but on a much broader scale. So A World at School Foundation works to recognize that there are 51 million children around the world in developing countries that are out of school right now. And they work to not only raise the level of students that are in school, but to improve the quality of education, to make sure that those in the most marginalized areas, most rural areas, that girls in rural areas are counted, that they can go to school. And they also try and reach out to students with disabilities to make sure that they are having education and the quality of education that will foster their learning. It's an amazing organization that I think all of you should check out, that I'm very fortunate and very proud to be a part of, that my previous work in the last 2 years has tied myself to and made me very passionate and very concerned about education. So this is a picture with a girl from California. She visited the Capitol for the workshop. This is her first time in DC, my first time in DC, and we met and we instantly hit it off. It was like one of those things where you see somebody from college and then you see them like 10 years later and you're like, hi! And you hug and you recap, and it was like that, except I'd never met her in person. I knew her by her Twitter, Abby. I knew her by her Facebook page. And so we made contact via social media, and when we joined, it felt like we already knew each other. We were already united. So teens are recognizing the impact of social media, and we're using this to bring awareness to issues that we care about, to make sure that our voices are heard. We're using social media for social good, and we're breaking barriers with this. So I have a questions thing right here, but I did have a slide. I don't know if any of you noticed I was having a little bit of difficulty getting my PowerPoint to show up. I did have a slide that did talk about social media and how South Florida in particular, we have social media in Miami, how South Florida in particular is raising the bar and the standards and becoming a gateway for multinational people to be able to come and talk to us. I know about 90% of my friends have family in another country. They are able to go and reach out to, for example, in Girl Up. I was able to reach out to girls in Latino America who were studying their club that speak Spanish. So it's very easy for me to go up to them and, stalk them on Facebook a little bit and message them and say, hey, I would really love to get in contact with you. I think that what you're doing is great. Message me back. I'm from South Florida. They go, they message me back to say, oh my God, I know somebody from South Florida. I have some family in South Florida. That is so, so cool. And so we connect on that, and we connect through social media, and they're able to tell their family in South Florida, hey, listen, the girls can't act. This great bill. You live in South Florida. You should go meet your representative and tell them to sponsor it. It's a gateway. You see what I mean? And I had a wonderful stat on a slide that I don't know if we'll be able to with the tech issues that I wanted to show you guys. But it's a post that Florida Grand Opera showed about how South Florida is so multicultural and how we have so many other countries tuning in to what we are saying. Our voices are amplified due to social media. We are breaking down barriers. We are a global village that is coming together, and we're leveling the playing field in a way that we are able to go and connect with other people in other countries in ways that 10 years ago wouldn't even have been dreamed of. I'm able to go and keep in contact with my friend from California, and then keep in contact with the girl from Belize that I met at the summit as well, because she has a Twitter. And she's in tune with what South Florida is doing. And she has family that has Facebook and Twitter, and they're in tune with what South Florida is doing. South Florida, the Broward Center for Performing Arts, has attendees from all over the country. My blog, my own blog, my Tumblr blog that has all of my reviews and interviews. I have a little feed thing that checks in, and I have people, opera houses, opera companies from Austria, checking in and seeing what's going on in South Florida, checking what shows are coming, what shows I think were good, what shows I think could have been improved. And hopefully they're taking that back to their own companies. Social media is, in a way, creating not only a global village, but a global community, where we all are able to be in tune to what's going on. And teens, especially teens, we know how to do it. Teens and millennials, we know how to do this. We know how to make it work in our favor. And we're doing that, and we're making a big impact. So thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
So I have a question. So beyond, okay, social media is there, people are on it, but what I was very interested in hearing about in this talk was persuasion. In the past 2 years that you've been doing this, have you learned any lessons about persuading people, specifically young people, to pay attention to an issue where they were not paying attention to it before, and then you get to care? I mean, if that's come up for you.
It totally has. In fact, social media is the way to sort of hack into a teenager's mind frame, because they're not going to be going and looking up on the United Nations website, or they're not going to, I mean, I would, but not all teens would be willing to go out of their way and, type in the full URL and research about it. So you let them know through social media. You let them know by retweeting a tweet from one of your favorite organizations about an issue that's going on. You use statistics. Students like to hear a lot about statistics. You let them know about a show that's going on that they could get for like half price at the theater that's like 10, 15 minutes away from them. So social media has in fact played the biggest role in getting teens to pay attention. You see celebrities that they will tweet their favorite organizations. They'll say, oh, I'm doing a tweet storm or a tweet party. with this organization, come join me, ask me questions, and then they learn about that organization in like a sneaky, cool, techie way. So that's one of the ways that social media has definitely, for me, played such a big impact, and the whole reason why I'm trying my best to get into social media as fast as possible. Yeah. The whole reason why I created Instagram.
How do you find, hi everybody. We're almost finished, so.
And introduce yourself if you like. I'd love to hear more about who you are, and I'm going to be available for questions after.
Yeah, we are going, just to let you know, we're going to be taking a group picture in the lobby like we did last year. So when you are finished here, we have to be out of the Grand Arch Center by 5 o'clock, 5:10 the latest. They go to overtime, and we don't want that this year. I hope that you have enjoyed, especially her talk, which I think it was amazing that we were able to get you to talk today. Yes.
Well, my name is Jacqueline Vestry, and I work with the Arts and Business Council of Miami. I host a radio show where I play classic salsa and Latin soul, and I'm a marketing consultant. But you, my dear, are incredibly dynamic, and I'm so proud of you, not only as a young woman, a female, a Latina, a young person who has such a command of this platform. And I want to interview on the show, number one. Number two is you worked it well. I'm curious because I was telling people they needed to come to this panel because this is what most organizations and most companies are missing, are the connection to the millennials, more 14 to 34, but everything you touched upon when I walked in the door. It's about we're investing in the young generation so that they can want to go to these shows, speak to their peers, and then as they get older and develop families, that that the arts has lost that media and all this, music that does not have a message, all these things. We need people like you that care, who are influencers. And who is it at this? You said it's the Broward Center, because that campaign, that is a model campaign right there. What they're doing, everyone should model what they are doing. So who is heading that and came up with this? What age are they? I'm curious. Who said, because, I'm 44, but this is what I would implement if I was somewhere. I'm curious how old, because I invited some older people to come that work at, big festivals, and I see they're not sitting here, and I'm like, I know they missed an opportunity by not being here and listening. So yeah, who runs it at the Broward Center that developed this program?
At the Broward Center, the people that run it right now are Bill Montgomery and Joe Crodish. They are my two mentors, and we're expanding the program next year. But it was you're completely right. It's kind of like a godsend for students, especially like me. My first year at the Broward Center, I was watching the opera, and I seen a clip of the opera when I went to New York outside the Metropolitan, because they had a little preview area. But when I went in and I sat there and I experienced the opera for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And I fell in love. And I fell in love. And I actually have recently performed with the Florida Grand Opera. I was in Tosca, we performed here, and in Broward Center for Performing Arts. So it's something that Broward Center has fostered my love for, something that I don't think I would have been exposed to it had I not been a teen ambassador. And then I was able to go and share that with my friends who they were going to go see an opera with me for the first time ever, and then they might like it too, and if they don't, that's fine. They're not saying, you have to like this show. They're saying, see if you like it, try it out. It's like a mom trying to coax her kids to eat some broccoli. Try it out, see if you like it, and if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, that's wonderful. And so the Broward Center actually is very, very active in trying to get other theaters to follow their role. We want this to expand as big as possible. We want every theater in the country to have this program. And every arts group. Every arts group in general.
Thank you guys so much. You can follow her on Facebook, and you can and her different social sites, and you can talk to her downstairs. But we do have to get going. I'm so sorry to cut it short.